Well, seasonal depression affects nearly 5% of the nation each year.
Here to talk to us more about the symptoms and how to treat them is psychiatrist Dr. Levine. Good morning, Dr. Levine.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So how can you tell that you're suffering from seasonal depression versus the kind that we're more familiar with?
Seasonal depression looks a lot like the depression that we're all familiar with. The key difference is that it's a pattern of emotions and behavior that tends to come on around the same time each year, and that's when the days start to get shorter and darker and colder.
All right, so let's talk about, I think even depression that we all talk about, it can be very mysterious to some people who haven't experienced it. So what are the symptoms when you need to be concerned?
It's different than just being bummed out.
Yeah.
And if we think about the seasonal variety, it's not just it's cold and I want to stay inside, and it's not very inviting to go outside. This is a pattern of low mood, frequent crying, impaired concentration, significant changes in sleep or appetite, no longer taking any pleasure in activities that would typically be fun. Having a difficult time even getting out of bed sometimes, suicidal thinking. Some people do end their life because of depression of any variety.
So how can you treat seasonal depression?
There are a variety of ways. First of all, things like exercise, getting enough sunlight can be effective. They can even be preventative if you start them soon enough. And so really important to get out there, even if it's cold outside, on a sunny day, soak in that sunlight. There are artificial light boxes which can mimic natural sunlight to a degree and can be helpful. Again, getting that regular exercise can be really helpful. If this is an ongoing pattern of symptoms and it's affecting quality of life, talking to someone, a professional counselor, can be important. And then there's medications. The same antidepressants that treat any other type of depression can be effective for seasonal depression. Many of those medicines are ineffective for a lot of people, or they can take a long time to work, have a lot of side effects. So at Actify Neurotherapies, we've pioneered a protocol using a medicine called ketamine, which in very low doses can be a very rapid-acting and very effective antidepressant that doesn't have some of the side effects that the traditional medicines have.
All right, so just to be clear, seasonal depression, as you were saying, the symptoms can be just as serious as this depression that we're used to hearing about.
They really can. In most ways, they're indistinguishable. What sets it apart is the seasonality. That it comes on around the same time each year and tends to leave around the same time each year.
So what do you do? A lot of times the person who is going through seasonal depression doesn't recognize it in themselves. So if you're a friend or family and you see these symptoms in somebody, what do you do?
You're right. It can be insidious, and it can be really fairly advanced before someone recognizes how bad it's gotten. And so, yes, having that social support network that can observe those signs. And the most important thing that they can do is just to raise their hand and say, hey, I've noticed this and I'm concerned about you. And just start that conversation. And oftentimes that can then lead to the person being willing to speak to someone, whether it's someone in their network already or speaking to a professional, and then seeking more care if necessary, if that's not enough.
And at what point should you go see a doctor?
When it's starting to really impact quality of life. If it's affecting work, if it's affecting social function, if you're really not able to engage in life in the way that you typically would.
All right, Dr. Levine, thank you for being here.